all jumping up. Super. And then we're going to come to our mats and take.
Are you muting us, Ange?
Oh, yes, I'll mute you. I'll mute you. Oh, golly, golly.
Sorry.
That sounds really unprofessional now for the people that are joining in, that listen to it on the recording back. There we go. Right. We're going to come to our mats in a cross-leg position. You might just be able to see the back of Burdoc's head. So your choice whether you are in a cross-leg position with either the right foot on top of the left, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can take your feet a little bit further forward. Sometimes that helps to just create less pressure on the hips and a little bit more support for the lower back. I'm going to rest the backs of the hands to the insides of the thighs, palms turned up towards the ceiling, lining up the back of the head with the back of the tailbone. I'm trying to teach over them. It's not working, is it? Right, I'm going to have to eject you. Come on, I can't do it with you in here. Come on then. Good boy. Good boy. Come on. Come on. That's a good boy. This way. What are we doing? Right, I am back in the room without the hound. We can begin again. So we're cross-legged. We're nice and lengthened out of the sit bones. And if this causes you any disturbance around the knees, if you feel that the hips are heavy, you can always use your props. Bricks are very good at just holding up the weight of the legs. If you need them, it's a nice thing to try. Let's align the back of the head with the back of the tailbone, palms turned up towards the ceiling. Taking a moment to unclench the jaw, feeling the underside of the chin soft and released. Relaxing the eyebrows. And for now, we're going to keep the eyes open. So we want to become very aware of the space that surrounds us. A little bit of proprioception this evening. We're going to start by turning the eyes, not the head, over to the right side. So looking side eye towards the right. Just keeping your focus over to the right, blinking when needed. Then bringing the eyes back to center, taking the eyes all the way over to the left. So we keep the head still, no change in the chin or the back of the neck. Bring the eyes back again to center. We're going to take the eyes up, so look towards the ceiling. Now I often find that I do this in two goes. So I often lift the eyes first to the corner of the room and then I take the gaze up towards the ceiling. I just find that a little bit gentler. Then bring the eyes back again to face forward. Now we're going to look all the way down towards the floor. The key here is not to dip the head. So just use the eyes to bring your gaze down towards the floor. Now from this position, looking down towards the floor, I want you to imagine that you're drawing circles with the eyes, obviously both going in the same direction. We don't have to do any scenes from The Exorcist here. Then we'll take those circles the opposite way. Repeating that so that we're really looking down, to the side, up above, to the opposite side and down. Then repeating the opposite way, to the side, up above, other side, and down. Now bring the gaze back again to center. Take a moment to just rest the eyes here, so close the eyes. Inhale to lift the shoulders up towards the ears. As you exhale, a little shrug. Let that go. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. This time a little more control as you roll the shoulders back and down, opening through the collarbones, through the heart space. Mindful again of the underside of the chin remaining parallel to the floor, keeping the eyes closed as you turn your head now, bringing the nose over the right shoulder, keeping those shoulders released back and down, bringing the head back again to center, then turning the head over the left shoulder. Once more, bringing the head back again to center. We can keep our eyes closed just to relax the muscles as we release the right shoulder, the right ear down towards the right shoulder, allowing a gentle opening through the left side of the neck. Working with the breath to allow the head to become heavy here. Inhaling to widen and expand into the lungs and the ribcage. Exhaling to engage the core as you transition to bring the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. Drawing the shoulder blades together, engaging the core. Inhaling to bring the head back again to center. Let's now blink the eyes open. Place the right hand behind the right hip. Bring the left hand to the right knee. Inhale to lift and lengthen out of the sit bones. The first action is to draw the right side of the rib cage towards the back of the room. The next action is to bring the chin over the shoulder. Then I want you to repeat that action of drawing a circle with the eyes. So we're looking towards the back of the room, over the shoulder, looking all the way up, down to the side, down towards the palm of the hand. Then inhaling to lift both arms up, bringing the head back to center, lengthening through the fingertips, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. As you exhale, bring opposite hand to opposite knee. Inhale to lift and lengthen again. Exhale to squeeze round with the left side of the rib cage, shoulder blades drawn together. And again, we're drawing that circle, looking over the shoulder first, up towards the ceiling, all the way around, bringing your gaze to the fingertips on the floor. As you exhale, engage the core. As you inhale, return both hands, the shoulders and the head to face forward. So we're placing the hands in front of the knees, exhaling to draw the tummy button in and rounding through the spine, nodding the chin towards the chest. Careful here to avoid putting pressure on the knees as you inhale to lift the sternum forward. Draw the shoulder blades together, keep lifting the head, opening your gaze towards the ceiling, then exhaling, exaggerating that curve in the spine, pulling the lower back towards the back of the room. Then inhaling, lifting the sternum forward, finding that curve in the opposite direction. Exhale, engage one more time into that rounded cat stretch. This time on the inhale, rather than the exaggerated cow pose, we'll bring ourselves back to a centered position. Realign the back of the head with the back of the tailbone. Bring the hands as an interlock underneath the chin. So the elbows want to feel soft, but we will have a little bit of control with the elbows. We're going to do a bit of a bellows breath here. So inhale to lift the elbows up. They only come as high as the shoulders. Then exhale to release the elbows down. We don't push the head back as we inhale. So inhale, lift the elbows. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, almost as though you're pushing those elbows together again. Inhale, open and widen through the lungs and the rib cage. Exhale, engage and contract. Inhale to open. Exhale to release. We'll do 2 more. So that basically you're resting your chin on the backs of the hands. I'm just watching a couple of you are a bit loose. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Once more. Lovely. Now take the hands away from the underside of the chin. Some of you might have already adjusted the feet. If you haven't already done so, let's take that cross on the opposite side. Again, remember you can always use some props to hold the weight of the knees up if required. So from this leg cross position, on the exhale, start to walk the hands forward. Now we'll pause when we get to the end of that exhalation, palms to the floor, then inhale to lift the sternum forward, leading and lengthening through the spine. On the next exhalation, take that fold a little bit deeper, trying to maintain that diagonal line from the back of the head to the tailbone. So we're not curving the spine, we're just finding a little bit of release in and around the hips. There's no weight here. Bring the gaze to the end of the fingertips. Inhale to widen through the chest. Exhale to engage the core and walk the hands back again to center. The opposite action, placing both hands behind, drawing the shoulder blades together. So on your first inhalation, you're articulating the spine, so lifting the sternum, bringing the gaze up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, no curvature in the spine, but engaging the core and encouraging that straight line again from the back of the head to the tailbone. If it works for you, bring the palms of the hands to the floor in case you're resting on the fingertips. On the next inhalation, lift the bottom from the mat, press the shins forward. Again, just check in how this feels with the hips. There's a little bit of body weight here. Then as you exhale, release, bring the sit bones back to the floor. Inhale, lift and lengthen back to center. We'll keep this right knee bent as we extend the left leg forward, parking the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Inhaling to lift and lengthen out of the sit bones. As you exhale, we'll work to inner thigh rather than hips this time. As we walk the hands forward, we're just looking for that little bit of resistance to the inner thigh. If you're particularly tight in the hamstrings, you might feel it to the back of the leg. And remember that golden tip of keeping both sit bones placed on the floor rather than rolling the weight onto that right knee, sorry. Push down into the palms, inhale to return to center. Extend the right leg now. Bring that left foot in, inhale to lift and lengthen. Then we'll just repeat that gentle stretch, that gentle opening to the inner thigh, working with the breath to slowly bring ourselves forward. So I'll remind you that sometimes if the lower back is feeling a little bit tight or a little bit twingy, whenever we do this forward action, it can feel very exposing. So remember that with every exhalation, you want to engage the core, with every inhalation to lengthen, and we never go further than mild discomfort. As you exhale, engage the core, walk the hands back again to center. Lovely. So I'm going to roll you now onto your back. So have your strap or your dressing gown belt handy. You will want a little loop in the strap. And remember, you are always in control of how wide you take this action. So never feel that you have to go further than that gentle, mild discomfort. So rolling onto the back, we'll start with the soles of the feet placed onto the mat, heels hip width distance apart, the insides of the feet parallel. We'll keep the left knee bent as we hug the right knee in towards the chest. On the next exhalation, gently pull the lower back to the floor, creating a little more release through the middle back into the lower back. Now inhale, extend that right leg forward, lift both arms overhead, hover the heel and the hands an inch from the floor. Then exhale, that big action as you hug the knee to the chest. Inhale, lengthen again. On the next exhalation, you're going to draw the tummy button in and gently lift the weight of your shoulders off the floor, hugging the knee in towards the chest, pausing here for a little bit of a crunch in the tummy, then inhaling once more, lengthening overhead. Exhale, one more tummy crunch. Just be mindful of the position of the chin here, back of the neck should be soft. Then as you exhale, release back to the floor. Let's transition to the left side. So no need for the crunch. This first time is just to feel that little bit of tolerance through the lower back. Inhale to lengthen. Heel and back of hands an inch from the floor. Exhale to draw that knee a little closer, mindfully engaging the core, rolling the lower back to the mat. Inhale, lengthen, arms overhead. On the next exhalation, we're going to practice that little crunch again. So try to lead with the chest rather than the chin, pushing the lower back to the floor, supporting the lower back as you hug that knee in. Then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, one further crunch. Gently holding the chest, drawing the shoulders back and down, nice and soft in the neck. Then as you exhale, roll down through the spine, bring the back of the head all the way to the floor and replace both feet to the mat. So you might want to have your bricks handy in case you need to support the weight of your legs. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, turning the knees out and propping those bricks underneath the outer edge of the thighs, just to provide a little bit of support should you need it. So we're not forcing anything, we're just gently allowing gravity to soften us, to release, to allow a deeper opening to the inner thighs. Inhale to lift both arms overhead, and this time rather than hovering the arms an inch from the floor, we're going to work with the breath to slowly lower the back of the hands to the mat. So this tends to show up where you have a little bit of limitation through the shoulders, a little tightness through the chest. So work with the breath and be kind to yourself. It might help to bend the elbows, to widen the elbows a little wider. Find the position that you can open through the chest, that you can feel the flats of the shoulder blades spread to the floor. Avoiding too much resistance in the hip joints by providing a little prop underneath the thighs, or allowing gravity to fully release and open the inner thighs here. On the next exhalation, engage the core. On the inhalation, slide the knees towards one another. On the out breath, reposition the hands either side of the hips. On the in breath, push into the soles of the feet, lift the bottom from the floor. On the out breath, bring the hands together in an interlock underneath the lower back. Wide through the chest, engaged in the core. Inhaling once more to press the shins forward, lifting the thighs higher. Keep the weight of the hands pressing into the floor. Try to keep those knees in alignment with the hips, so don't allow the outside edge of the feet to dominate. Press the big toe mounds to the floor, Press the shins forward, lift the thighs higher. Then on and out breath, separate the hands, roll down through the spine. Taking your time to enjoy this release vertebra by vertebra. On the next exhalation, hug both knees in towards the chest. We'll take a gentle rock and roll through the back of the hips. This is soothing for the lower back rather than the hip joints. Bring yourself back again to centre. We'll create a little figure of 8 shape now. So a little more control, hands onto the knees as you draw that infinity symbol above the hips. Finding a little release into the side of the hip joints now. Opening a little more deeply into that space underneath the lower back. Return again to centre. Separate the feet. We're going to draw the knees to create circles in opposite directions. So I often describe this as stirring the top of the thigh bone into the hip socket. So again, this is a very natural range of movement. Change direction because you're holding onto the weight of the legs. This is not giving us undue pressure into the hip joint. Then bring the knees back again towards centre. I'm a big fan of keeping supporting legs bent. So let's keep the left knee bent as we replace that foot to the floor. Take hold of your strap and we'll pass the loop of the strap around the ball of the foot. So I'm not going to overdo it here. I know my limitations. I'm particularly tight in the hamstring. So I'm going to keep a nice comfortable release on the knee for myself. Bring the right elbow to the floor so that you're not straining to hold the leg up. Now again, working with the breath, push through the heel. Working with the breath, relax the shoulders to the floor. And when you find a nice lengthened extension through the back of the leg, we can start to articulate the ankle joint. Inhale to point the toe. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. One more point, then flex. Keeping that relaxed elbow to the floor. Then as you exhale, start to guide that right foot out towards the right side. So remember, you are in control of how far you want to take the leg. The further the leg comes away from the midline of the body, the heavier it feels, and the more weight we are putting into the hip and pelvic joints. It's worth noting when you do this extension to the side, if you've rolled onto the right hip. Sometimes to help balance that out, you might want to nudge the left knee a little further open, just so that you can feel that you're equally weighted through the back of the hips. Press through that right heel. If you wish, you can try to bring the leg a little bit closer towards the body. So that means extending the stretch to the back of the hamstring. Then we're going to switch to take the strap into the left hand. Extend the right arm out to the side. Engage the core. Then slowly start to lift that leg back again to centre. Now it makes sense at this point to extend and lengthen the left leg. We're using the left arm now to control the weight of the leg coming over the midline of the body. As soon as you start to feel that resistance to the outside edge of the hip into the buttock, that's far enough for you. You can work with gravity to keep sinking that foot towards the floor. But when you start to feel that right back of the hip come off the mat, that's enough. Press the heel forward, deepen that stretch. Turn the gaze to look over the length of the right arm. Relax the shoulders. Press again through the right heel. Then as you exhale, engage the core. Slide that foot back again towards centre. We're going to bend that left knee up. Again, that will protect the lower back. And then no big action here, just a very gentle walking hand over hand, trying to keep that right leg lengthened as long as you can, pressing through the heel, just to encourage a further stretch to the back of the hamstring. If the bottom is lifted off the floor, let that full weight through the back of the hips sink back and release again. Then as you exhale, soften your grip on the strap, hug the right knee to the chest, slip that little strap off the foot, and we'll switch over, do the same on the other side. So we start with the strap in the left hand. We're going outwards to begin with. So the right hand is just resting by your side as you exhale and press through the heel. Inhale to point the toe, exhale to flex, inhale to point, exhale to flex. One more time, articulating the ankle, then we can start that deeper release out to your left side. So remember, the weight of the leg will inevitably lift the hips off the floor. So we want to try to keep that right buttock stuck to the mat. It might help you to ease the right knee open, pressing through the heel, extending through the right arm, just creating a little bit of balance here. Press once more through the heel, encouraging that deeper stretch to the inner thigh. So by using the strap, you are controlling and holding the weight of your leg up. As you exhale, engage the core, slide the foot back again to centre. We're going to switch to take the strap in the right arm, but again I want the elbow nicely relaxed on the floor. Extend the left arm out to the side, take the right leg forward. We'll bring that left leg over the midline of the body. And remember, we're not rushing this, and we certainly don't want to be coming so far that we lift the back of the hips from the floor. I find it helps to look over the left arm, to keep the shoulder blades flat to the floor, to feel the back of the hips remain connected through the mat, pressing a little more keenly through that left heel. Just that tiny bit of effort's enough. Then as you exhale, engage the core. Control as you slide that foot back again to centre. We'll bend the right knee up. Again, that's lovely to support the lower back. Then we'll walk hand over hand to gently intensify the lengthening to the back of the hamstring. Just look out for an exaggerated knee bends here. Press a little more keenly through the heel. The intention is to challenge the hamstring, so don't make it too easy. Then as you exhale, soften your grip on the strap, bend the knee, hug the knee to the chest, slip that little strap off and replace that foot to the floor. So although I said that we were working with the hips, what you'll find is that little range of movement there has actually more opened the space through the lower back. There's often that tight space between the buttocks, I'm going to call it, in the lower back. We've created a little more width here. On the next out breath, hug both knees in towards the chest. Then in your own time, roll to one side. Just take a moment there on your side. Some of you have flagged up that you have a little bit of discomfort in the knees. So find your way up to a standing position rather than coming through all fours. And I'll just do a little bit of admin to get the bricks aligned so that they are stacked at the front of your mat. In fact, I'm going to go this way first because this is my preferred side. Beautiful. So we'll keep the heels just a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Let's call it shoulder width. Insides of the feet parallel, knees nice and soft. Take the hands to the hips and as you exhale, hinge forward. So we've done all that lovely preparation to the back of the hamstrings, creating this 90-degree angle now, just to take this stretch a little bit more into the calves, into the space behind the ankles. Push the sit bones back, extend the sternum forward. So nicely lengthening the spine. Then engage the core, soften the knees. Keep looking down at the floor as you lift the upper body up and come back into a standing position. Brilliant. So I'm going to start with the warrior sequence tonight, and I'm going to do warrior 2 first, and then I'll do warriors 1 and 3 because they're set up differently. So for our warrior 2 position, turn the left toe. I'm going this way first because this is my preferred side. Almost as if it's facing towards the edge of your mat. I like to take quite a deep step apart, entirely up to you. You know your hip tolerance. I do this because I'm very unbendy behind the hamstring. Notice that that back foot almost creates a right angle. So if you were to look at the heel in relation to the back foot, it would be like a T-junction. For now, we're going to keep nice and soft on that front knee. I think it helps to turn the knee over the second toe. It sets an intention to keep this hip nice and square. Now, inevitably, this other hip will have collapsed forward. So use your hand to gently apply pressure to open the hips. So we should feel this as a gentle opening through the front of the hip flexor. If we feel any crunching in the hip joint, you might want to bring the feet a little closer together. Okay, good, perfect. So it's hard if you're looking at me on a screen, but I want you to trust me that hips and shoulders stay forward. We've got this nice relaxed bend on the front knee, so we're simply going to float the arms up, creating a straight line from fingertip to fingertip, shoulder blades drawn together. Turn your gaze over that front arm, and I want you to think gentle, peaceful thoughts. It might help you to look down, or you might just want to feel that you're rolling that front knee over the second toe, which creates a little deeper opening to the inner thigh. As you exhale, see if we can sink the sit bones down a little further. So try not to travel when you do this. Try to bring the sit bones down and avoid too much bend in that front knee. Then as you exhale, engage the core, sink that front arm on top of the thigh. We'll create a nice side angle here. So diagonal line from fingertip through the shoulder, all the way through to that back heel. Beautiful. Now, if you've got a brick handy, we're going to set it to the most upright position. Place the palm onto the top of the brick. And then I quite like to have a little bit of pressure. So I mentioned about the knee being over the second toe. I like to use my upper arm to just gently nudge that knee out. Then bring the gaze either down towards the back of the hand or up towards the opposite hand. Sometimes that can make us dizzy. That's it. Let's make sure we've got a nice straight line from wrist to wrist. Now apply a little further pressure into the top of your brick. As you do so, lengthen that front leg. Keep opening the side of the rib cage towards the ceiling, coming into the inner thigh stretch, opening that rib cage to create a stretch to the side of the waist. Then as you exhale, soften that front knee again. Push into the push into the brick, then lift yourself back to center. Lovely. Switching the feet position now. So the back foot becomes the stopper, the front foot becomes the pointer, and swap your brick over so you've got that support there should you need it. So coming into the warrior two position again, slackening that front knee, but we're keeping ourselves a little bit further back than a 90-degree angle. If we come full into here, we will be more inclined to travel forward and overextend on the knee. So let's keep ourselves a little further back. Reminding that suggestion of setting the hips and the shoulders to face forward, rotating that front knee over the second toe, and floating the arms up. So although this feels quite a gentle action, there's a lot of work involved here with core engagement, with stabilizing through the legs, the strength in the legs. And despite the fact that this looks very gentle through the arms, we're working hard through the chest, through the shoulders to keep that weight up. Turn and look over that front arm. As you exhale, let's see if we can sink the sit bones a little deeper. There's quite a lot of action there on the front knee. Front knee is the last thing to move. It's all about spreading the inner thighs. Beautiful. We'll go straight into that side angle pose. So we're keeping that no more than 90-degree angle on the front leg, setting a diagonal line from the fingertips through the wrist, through the hip, all the way to the back heel. Beautiful. Perhaps rotating the rib cage up towards the ceiling. We have our brick in position, so let's just gently bring fingertips to the top of the brick. If we can bring the palm of the hand to the brick without losing that lovely upper body technique. Then when you're ready, push into the top of the brick and lengthen your front leg. So you're taking the bend out of your front leg, reaching even further in your triangle posture. So straighten the front leg. Claire, perhaps bring your brick a little closer towards you. You're reaching forward. I'm assuming it's a brick. Beautiful. Helen, I wonder if I can see your hips a little more. Are you confident that your hips are doing that and not that? Aha, you are now. I can see that better. Beautiful. Nice soft bend in that front knee. Exhale, engage the core. Bring yourself back up to standing, floating the arms down by your side. Lovely. Step the feet together. I'm going to replace both bricks towards the top end of the mat. So they won't be used in the first part of the sequence, but we will transition to using them. So in the first part of the sequence, we're going to step right foot forward, left foot back. Imagine your feet are set on train tracks. So the inside of the feet should be parallel. That often means that we just have to reset that back heel so that it's not turning too far in. Take a nice bend on the front knee. Set again the knee over the second toe. Bring the hands to begin with into an Anjali Mudra at the heart. So here I just want you to feel and find the natural rhythm of your breath. Don't do what I did. If you close your eyes, you'll lose your balance. I'm just going to do a little bit of correction now that I've had a good look at you all. I think we can go a little bit further with our stride. So you'll notice that my legs are quite separated and I've got a lot more weight going into this front leg. So avoiding too much, we don't want the knee shooting forward to the toe, but we want enough weight into the front leg. Good, that's better. Now on an inhalation, lift both arms overhead. On an exhalation, engage the core, bring the hands back to heart center. So I'm facing my right knee forward. I recognise I might be mirrored to you, but I don't want to get my cueing wrong. So my right knee is bent, facing forward. I'm going to take my left hand, place it in the lower back. Then I'm going to inhale the right hand up, look up towards the fingertips. That's just opening a little more deeply into that hip flexor. Then as I exhale, I'm going to bring the hands down onto the top of the bricks. Inhale to lengthen and straighten that front leg. Draw the shoulder blades together, 90-degree angle again. Then sink into that bend in the front knee as you inhale, lift up. And repeat that action. So exhale, hinging forward, hands to the bricks. Inhale, straighten the leg, push the sit bones to the back of the room, extend the sternum. Engage the core. Inhale, lift the hands up. One hand behind the hip. Then as you exhale, engage the core, sink all the way back down again onto your blocks. So I want you to just practice taking your body weight onto the bricks. So if you don't have bricks and you're working from the floor, you can still do this. I might take mine a little lower because they just feel a bit more secure for me down there. So we're just taking our weight forward, lifting the back leg, keeping a little bend on that front knee. Then when you feel secure, you can lift and lengthen the front leg. Keeping that back leg behind, shoulders parallel to the floor. And then if you're feeling really brave, lift one hand from the brick, extending that arm forward. Bring the other arm up, lengthen, and inhale, lift back to center. Did you breathe? There's a few red faces, so I'm guessing not. Let's do it with the other side. So this is why I think bricks are a good idea, because they do give you something to lean into, something to lean from. So we're going to do the opposite side. So left leg in my case coming forward now, right leg back. Remember what we said about perhaps taking a wider stride than you might feel normal. Just going to come a bit further back so I think my hands will get taffled up. Come into a nice soft knee on that front leg, rolling the knee over the second toe, bringing the hands to an Anjali Mudra. So checking in that the shoulders are released, the tailbone might be better tucked under. Inhaling to lift the arms overhead, parking the ears between the upper arms, then lifting the sternum, looking up towards the thumbs. As you exhale, engage the core, bring the hands back to heart. So the opposite that we did on that first side, this time the right hand comes behind the hip, the left arm reaches up, we're looking up through the fingertips. Then as you exhale, hinge forward. So there's two parts to this. There's the forward hinge with the knee bent, hands come to the brick. Then there's the inhalation where you lengthen the leg, and extend the sternum forward. So you're trying to just deepen the stretch to the back of the hamstring. As you exhale, engage the core, slip back into that soft bend in the front knee, right hand behind the hip, inhale to look up, exhale, two parts. First part, the knee remains bent, hands to the brick. Second part, straighten the leg, inhale to lengthen. Then we'll keep the hands on the brick, starting to test that idea of just bringing your body weight forward. So pressing your hands into the brick, lifting the back foot, straightening the front leg, hips and shoulders square to the floor. When you feel brave enough, you can take one hand away from the brick. Then if you're in the zone, I run out of space, lift the second hand off the brick. It's that big confidence thing of getting that second hand off. Good work. Then when you're ready, find your center, replace the hands to the mat, the bricks, replace the foot to the floor, engage the core, and inhale to step back up. Lovely. Stepping the feet together. Perfect. So when I first learned yoga, I started with Iyengar training, and the best piece of advice I was given was to build strength in the thighs. If you did that, you could do any yoga, and that's a really good test for that, really. All those standing postures, you need strength in the thighs, or everything's shaking and you can't quite do it. So let's return again to that position of the heels being shoulder width apart, soften the knees. So a 90-degree hinge. So we've got that straight line from the back of the head to the tailbone. This feels so much easier this time than it did when we first stood up. Wrap the hands around the elbows, so you're creating a cradle and a little bit of weight here through the forearms. Just be mindful here that you don't start to curve the spine. So try to keep that nice diagonal shape as you allow the forearms to become parallel to the floor, releasing deeper, tucking the chin under, exhaling to soften a little more deeply into this fold. This might be far enough for you. You might wish to just take a little transition from one side to the other. If you are particularly flexible in the hamstrings, it might be within your gift to bring the fingertips or the palms to the floor. You might want to just challenge yourself with a little deeper stretch. So push into the soles of the feet, lift the tailbone a little higher. Then reposition the hands onto the thighs. Draw the shoulder blades together, engage the core. Again, I'm a big fan of bending the knees. Support the lower back as we push into the thighs and we drive the upper body up. The last thing to come up is the head. Then inhale, lift both arms overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands together in an Anjali Mudra. Beautiful. You have earned the promised Shavasana. So bring yourself into a comfortable position on the mat. So I would just suggest that you take a moment when you lie down, particularly if you've chosen to lie on your back, and just notice that extra space that we've created through the back of the buttocks and that flat bone above the bottom. So when I said that I was releasing the hips, I think you'll find it's more the back of the hips. The lion man returneth. I love it that he's just like, Mom, I'm here from a cuddle. So somebody did mention it a couple of weeks ago, but it really struck me this week how light it is. And we're kind of like coming into our Shavasana and it's still bright out there, which is really nice. So you may have found doing quite energetic work anyway, the standing sequence. You might find that you feel quite warm. So the first part of this visualization will be easy for you. I want you to imagine that you are lying in a favourite comfortable spot, either on a beach, in the countryside, or if you're lucky enough, by your own pool. As you just allow the sun's rays to gently caress and soften your body. Feel that gentle warmth. And as you welcome the sun in, allowing the warmth to penetrate deeper into your skin, into your muscles. Notice a willingness to allow your whole body to submit. The full weight of your body completely released. Becoming aware of the weight of your bones, sinking a little more deeply into the earth beneath you, held in the warmth of the sun, released into the lap of Mother Earth. Bring your awareness to the breath. And take a few deeper breaths here to slow the breathing down. Inhaling deeply to expand and widen into the space that surrounds you. Exhaling fully, unclenching, releasing any residual tension. Consider every out-breath a letting go. Every in-breath a reminder to recharge your batteries. An opportunity to fill your body with positive energy. Releasing your body of any toxins, any negative energy. Filling your body with warmth, with light. Remaining aware of the weight of your body, completely released and relaxed. Tuning into the breath once more. Just with idle curiosity. Start to count the length of your breath in Count the length of your breath out. And work towards creating balance here. Equal length to the inhalation, to the exhalation. Beginning to notice the gaps between the in-breath and the out-breath. What happens in that space between? Do you pause for a beat? Or do you simply transition in-breath to out-breath? Start to create some space here between the in-breath and the out-breath. Almost as though it feels as though you're holding the breath. So I'm going to set a suggested count just to get you into the same rhythm. So inhaling for a count of 4, 3, 2, and 1. Retaining the breath for 2 counts. Then exhaling for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a beat and begin that inhalation again. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pausing for 2 breaths. Then exhaling. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Calmly proceeding. Inhaling deeply to a count of 4. Retaining the breath for 2 counts. Now exhaling to a count of 6, taking a little longer, a little deeper. A beat, and proceed to inhale for 4. Retain the breath for 2. Exhale again to a count of 6. Continuing the circle with an inhale for 4. Maintaining again that hold and center. This time exhaling to a count of 8. So slowing down, focusing. Inhaling for 4. Holding for 2. Exhaling for 8. Inhaling for 4. Retaining for 2. Back to that exhalation for 6. In for 4. Hold for 2. Out for 6. Then we'll transition back to bringing the breath into balance. Breathing in for 4. Pause of 1 count, then out for 4. A beat. Inhaling for 4. Transitioning straight to the exhalation. Making way for the inhalation. finding your way back to your natural, easy rhythm of the breath. No need to count. Just simply feel your body being breathed. Notice once more the weight of your body against the floor. Feel the weight of your bones released and relaxed. And start to motivate yourself to return sensation to the physical body. Start with little movements, perhaps wiggling fingers, gentle movement in the toes, perhaps wriggle the jaw, wiggle the nose. Start to draw circles with the jaw, almost as though you're a cow chewing the cud, allowing your mouth to open, exaggerating that action, changing direction, drawing the jaw the opposite way. Gently massaging the vagus nerve. Allow the jaw to rest once more. Your choice whether you'd prefer to take a long stretch through the body, or whether you've rested so deeply that you need to hug the knees to the chest and just feel yourself grounded once more. Take a moment to roll to whichever side is comfortable for you. Pausing here to blink the eyes open. Then return again to a comfortable seated position. I think I may have lost a couple of you to sleep. We'll bring our hands together in an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for your patience with my naughty puppy. It's not even a puppy anymore, it's got no excuse. Lots of love, everyone. Have a great week.
You too, Angela. Thank you.
I always feel very guilty for waking you up at the end. You're there. Okay, take care. See you soon.